Hello, everyone. This is Dana Talbrick, and today we will be going over another combination slash alternate robot modes for Siege Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime and Kingdom Ultra Magnus. Now, in the case of this one, I feel like the theming of it would work better if you used Siege Ultra Magnus, but I do not own Siege Ultra Magnus, so I cannot do this combination with Siege Ultra Magnus, but I feel like it would just work out better with Siege Ultra Magnus because Siege Ultra Magnus has the correct aesthetic for this combination. Now, what is this combination slash fan mode for these figures? This combination slash fan mode is to make them into the RID 2001, 2003, I forget which year it was, version of these characters. So the fire truck Optimus and the car carrier Ultra Magnus that were seen in Car Robots, as it was known in Japan. So to start off, we have Optimus Prime. Now, this Optimus Prime alternate robot mode isn't too much different. In fact, depending on the angle you look at it, it looks exactly the same as the original. However, the difference is the wheels here are attached to be like the light bars in the robot mode of that original Optimus Prime. And if any of the more recent Optimus Prime figures were to be retooled into RID Optimus Prime, I feel like this would be the perfect figure for it, because kind of how the truck looks incomplete without the trailer attached, the fact that this version of Prime is also already a fire truck and you just have to do something different with the segment that forms the upper torso. I feel like this would be the perfect figure if they wanted to make a new version of that Prime. They could totally use this one. And the thing where people are like, oh, it looks incomplete if you remove the trailer, would actually work better for that design, because the truck was literally incomplete without the trailer in that figure. Now, for the alternate super mode. The alternate super mode is pretty much the same. The only thing you really do different is with the backpack. So, to form the alternate super mode, you pretty much go through the original super mode steps. You attach the wheels onto the arms, take the gun out of the hand, you push the torso forward, slide down the backpack, open up the torso, fold up the head, close it up, switch the... Actually, no, I had the waist unit in the combined mode already. Have the waist unit like that, fold up the heel spurs, set that off to the side, grab the backpack. Now, this is where it differs. So what you're going to want to do is, instead of attaching this gun to this fire hose, you attach it to this one, and you just have the one really long hose, because RID Prime only had one fire hook, like a normal fire truck. So you do that. Then attach that onto the back, close it up. Then with the positioning of the wings, this is also different. You want to fold the wings back as far as they go. You fold up this fire tower thing, and you leave this one down. So you have it like this. And that's because RID Prime didn't have the jetpack. So you fold those up, and once again, he only had the one ladder, so you only keep the one ladder out and you fold the other one up. Then you take these, slide them on, fold out the heel spurs, I find with both of these figures, almost every reviewer forgets that they have heel spurs in their separate modes. Now, in the case of this figure, he doesn't have... in the case of Ultra Magnus, he doesn't have them in his combined mode, but still, I just find reviewers forget that these heel spurs exist, and then they complain about the figure falling over. Push back so it fits in frame, which my camera doesn't want to stay in the correct position. Put the shoulders on, like so. And then another difference is you just sort of plop these guns in the back here, because there's nowhere else to really put... You either plop the guns in the back of the wings and just have them beef up the backpack, or you just have them on the legs but you never fold them out, because once again, this particular version of Prime didn't have side guns, but the Galaxy upgrade did. So there you have him in his RID inspired super mode, which it's pretty much the same as the normal super mode, except you leave the side guns off and you make one really long hose and you just fold up the other one and you fold the wings back. So there you have Prime. Now we go to Ultra Magnus. With Ultra Magnus, I'm not going to go through his separate robot mode, because this version of Ultra Magnus only had the vehicle mode and the robot mode in the toy, where G1 Magnus had multiple modes in the toy. The way I have it set up is actually to kind of recreate one of the gimmicks of the original toy, which is the shoulder pylons are set up so they fold up, and then there's the cannons to sort of recreate the machine gun thing he has. His gun is stored on his backpack, because when he had a gun, it was this gun, and then you attach the things, and then you set it there. But I'm not really going to go over Magnus much, because his combination is kind of an afterthought. Just kind of sort of trying to recreate a silhouette instead of with Prime, where it actually looks really good. But now we get to the forced fusion between the two characters. To do this, unlike the original figures, we do not use all of Ultra Magnus. In fact, there's quite a bit of Ultra Magnus we don't use. And by quite a bit, I mean the entire core robot and this piece. We just don't use it. They go off to the side. So now we can begin combining the two figures. So you want to take off the side bits of Prime's arms, take off his shoulders, then you want to remove the guns from the backpack, and now Prime is ready to combine. Then you want to take off the missiles from the shoulder pylons, and then you just want to attach them exactly how you attach them with the Ultra Magnus mold, like so. Then you want to take the gauntlets, and you want to place them... Oh, I had it wrong. Place the gauntlets on them. And of course, if you wanted this to be more accurate in the Magnus mode and the Prime mode, you would paint the gauntlets white. In the case of Prime, you'd paint his hands white too, I think. if I remember correctly. Next, you take these, fold that down. The background's falling apart, and I just noticed my camera moved without me touching it. Let's recenter the camera. Let's set Prime back for a second so we can focus on this. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take this gun. There's a little port up inside there. I'm going to put the gun in it, like so. Then you get this shoulder cannon thing. Then just take the wheels, attach them to the side. Take the missile launcher, attach it to the top. Actually, take the other wheel. No, wait, yeah, I had it right the first time. Actually, no, you do. Do something. Should have done this off camera first. Wait, yeah, I'm stupid. You don't use the wheels at all. You just attach the missile to the side and the gun in the bottom. There you have one shoulder unit. And you take the other one. And yes, I did say shoulder unit. These are going to go on the shoulders. Second one, you do the exact same way. Except this time I won't fiddle with it as much because I know what I'm doing now. There you have that. Then you take his gun. This is where you actually use the wheels. You attach the wheels to the side of the gun to bulk it up. And then you also take the missile tip, well, the tip of the fire hose, and you attach it to the gun. And I believe this is another case where with Siege Magnus, the silvers I think actually match, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. So then you get this super long gun, and you give it to him, because you can't hold the fire hoses anymore. They just don't work with this mode. So you just fold them up on the back. And you take the shoulder units, and just so they have somewhere to go, you peg them onto the fire hoses. This one doesn't want to go on. Okay, this one doesn't want to go on, so I'm just gonna do a different thing where I shove it into the backpack because it doesn't want to attach. Okay, then. Now, the one problem with this is my Prime is incredibly loose. So kind of doesn't like doing this because he's super loose. He was super loose out of the box. But then you take the shoulder cannons and you attach them to the shoulders, like so. This piece fell out, so I'm just gonna shove it back in here with the other one. Okay. Got one shoulder cannon attached. And you take the other one. And you attach it. And there you have, if I remember correctly from the show, it's called Ultra Prime or something. Once again, I could not tell you the original names. And the shoulder cannons get him out of my camera range, so I have to hold the camera so that the shoulder cannons show up. But there he is, Ultra Prime. Looks pretty neat. I'm actually tempted to buy a second copy of both of these figures and get them painted up and stuff to make those modes better. But yeah, still retains most of his posability, except he loses pretty much everything at the shoulders. Because if you move the shoulders, everything clashes because they're just huge. Now, you can also do some stuff. There is another mode you can make. If you take out the shoulders from the backpack and you set Ultra Prime off to the side, we can bring back all the stuff we didn't use from Magnus, and we can actually make a Starscream's coronation style version of Ultra Magnus, which I think is a pretty cool mode to do. One of my favorites, personally. So what position this goes within the backpack. That's like that, I think. Then you take the big thing here, give him this royal coronation Starscream like cape, attach the shoulders on. There you have Coronation Magnus, which is honestly, of the two fan modes, this one ended up being my favorite. I don't know, I kind of like to imagine it as, I guess, maybe a shattered glass Magnus. I've never actually read anything about shattered glass. I just really like the idea of the factions being inverted, and I like to imagine Ultra Magnus as the Starscream of the Autobots. I know that's a weird thing to imagine Magnus as, considering that would be, like, I guess maybe better suited for like Hot Rod. But I don't know. I think it's better to imagine that Magnus is the like shattered glass equivalent of Starscream to Optimus, and Optimus is basically Megatron, which I know that's not what shattered glass is actually like, but that's my personal idea of shattered glass. So I like to imagine Magnus is like the Starscream. I also just like to imagine that Hot Rod never gets the Matrix in G1. I like to imagine that the movie ends differently and Magnus actually becomes Optimus Prime. But also in my head, I like to imagine in the movie, before he gets the Matrix, Magnus is just the white Prime, and then he uses the Matrix and he turns into Ultra Magnus. But that's just my my silly ideas for Transformers stuff, which should never be taken as valid ideas because they're all silly. But that's the two fan modes you can make with these two figures. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.